Jack ran frantically, screaming for help. Someone in the pool had been electrocuted and was fighting for his life. The fire department rushed to the scene. They saw the scoreboard lying on the ground, exposed wires crackling and flashing terrifying electric sparks. At that moment, a reckless boy attempted to pull the victim, Casey, out with his bare hands, but it was too late. Even more terrifying, several children remained trapped in the pool. If the live wires fell into the water, everyone would be electrocuted instantly. Firefighters immediately split into two teams. Ryder led one group to rescue the victim using insulated ropes, but firefighter Stella faced an unexpected crisis. She ordered the children to get out of the water immediately, yet one rebellious boy swam toward deeper waters instead. Stella's urgent shouts were met with a defiant grin as the boy swam farther away. With no other choice, Stella gritted her teeth, shed her gear, and plunged into the water. Her teammates followed closely behind to provide support. Meanwhile, the live wires continued to sizzle and spark. The captain urgently ordered Casey to cut the power, but the distribution room was secured with a heavy security door. Casey's lock-picking tools bent under strain, still unable to open it. Underwater rescue efforts intensified. The boy resisted, forcing Stella to grab him and drag him toward shore. Meanwhile, Ryder improvised, securing the swaying wires with ropes to prevent them from falling into the pool. But then the scoreboard crashed down again, tugging at the cables. The pulsing, electrified wires were about to plunge into the water. Two firefighters, holding the child, were mere meters from the edge. Death loomed inches away. In the nick of time, Casey burst into the electrical room and pulled the circuit breaker with all his might. Fortunately, the moment the wire touched the water, the sparks abruptly extinguished. Those who had narrowly escaped death collapsed on the ground. This harrowing rescue should have ended perfectly. Unexpectedly, the parents of the mischievous child turned around and sued the fire department, demanding $1 million compensation. That day, a severe chain reaction collision occurred in the tunnel. The passenger in the front seat was thrown from the vehicle and died instantly. Even more terrifying, an eerie white flame ignited inside the cargo compartment. As the arriving firefighters prepared to launch the rescue, the awakened driver urgently demanded they retreat immediately. Faced with the crew's confusion, the driver revealed a shocking truth. It turned out this industrial waste recycler had discovered during pre-departure inventory that his company, to cut costs, had illegally loaded high-intensity radioactive material. If a chain reaction were triggered at this moment, a 20-kilometer radius would face devastating radiation threats. The captain immediately ordered his team to evacuate and notified dispatch to evacuate residents within 3 city blocks. However, the city's traffic gridlocked due to the evacuation order, trapping the hazardous materials response team in the gridlock. With radiation levels at the scene continuing to soar, the captain stayed behind alone to rescue the driver. He used ordinary fire extinguishers to delay the flames as long as possible, steadfastly sharing the driver's ordeal until a specialized liquid nitrogen fire truck broke through the gridlock and arrived on the scene. The team members grabbed their gear and charged in. After an all-out effort, the white flames were finally extinguished, and the driver was successfully rescued. However, the captain, who had been exposed to radiation for an extended period, now required rigorous decontamination. Fortunately, after a comprehensive hospital examination, the captain's vital signs were largely normal, with only a few readings requiring ongoing monitoring. This firefighting hero proved through his actions that safeguarding public safety is always the paramount mission. Lisa suddenly began hiccuping. Athena, the female officer beside her, keenly sensed something was wrong and immediately suspected Lisa might be having a stroke.
A stroke?
Mark was stunned upon hearing this. No wonder his wife had acted like a different person that morning. The dispute was initially reported as a domestic violence case. When police arrived at the scene, they found Mark bleeding from his forehead, loudly protesting his innocence and claiming his wife had assaulted him without cause. Athena initially followed standard procedure for domestic violence suspects and swiftly handcuffed Mark. She then patiently coaxed Lisa out of the bathroom. Lisa frantically accused Mark of suddenly going berserk this morning, repeatedly hiccuping while speaking. At first, Athena didn't pay much attention. Just then, firefighters arrived and prepared to bandage Mark's injuries. But Mark insisted his wife was the one needing medical attention. Mark tearfully revealed that his wife had suddenly spoken fluent Chinese that morning and even taught him a lesson in Chinese martial arts.
Did she hit her head? Was she in an accident recently? No, not that I know of.
Hey, she told me she woke up this morning with a migraine. That and violent hiccups. That coupled with obvious chest pains.
Experienced Athena
I think
immediately
she-
recognized the hiccuping as a specific symptom of stroke in women. The captain promptly examined Lisa and found her tongue was crooked, confirming Athena's stroke diagnosis. Rescue personnel explained that a blood clot blocking oxygen supply to the brain could cause neurological dysfunction or even temporarily activate certain special abilities. The team doctor then administered a tissue plasminogen activator to stabilize her condition before rushing her to the hospital for treatment. Mark, having just breathed a sigh of relief upon learning his wife was unharmed, suddenly thought of the potential consequences of her newfound Chinese martial arts skills. A look of worry spread across his face. A woman in labor and her husband were involved in a severe car accident on the road. Firefighter Stella, passing by after work, witnessed the incident. Just as she prepared to dial 911 for help, her phone fell to the ground, got wet, and shut down. Stella immediately retrieved her first aid kit and fire extinguisher from her vehicle and rushed to the scene. The husband, desperately pleading for help as his pregnant wife remained trapped inside the vehicle. Stella assessed the situation. The pregnant woman was not in immediate danger, but she was firmly wedged by the deformed car frame. To make matters worse, the husband had forgotten his phone, and the wife's phone had been lost in the crash. Now, Stella alone was utterly unable to pry open the door. Meanwhile, the pregnant woman's contractions were growing increasingly frequent. Panicked, she wondered if she would have to give birth right there on the roadside. Stella was forced to step up and prepare for an emergency delivery on the spot. Unexpectedly, the husband suddenly walked over to a utility pole. Stella needed a clean blanket and called for the husband to fetch one, but received no response. When she got up to check, she found him slumped motionless against the pole, blood seeping from the back of his head. It turned out that after dislocating his arm, he had the bizarre idea of trying to reset it by slamming himself against the pole. Not only did he fail to fix his arm, but he also suffered a grade 3 concussion. After treating her husband's injuries, Stella solemnly instructed him, "Stay seated by the car. I must focus entirely on delivering your baby. I can't spare energy for anyone else." To prevent further distress, Stella asked him to recount their love story. This topic immediately immersed him in sweet memories. As labor progressed into a new stage with the baby's head emerging, Stella urged the mother to pause pushing while she retrieved delivery supplies from the vehicle. Just then, the husband spotted headlights approaching in the distance. Stella urgently flagged down the car for help, but the driver accelerated away from the scene. After retrieving the blanket, Stella resumed the delivery. Yet no matter how hard the mother pushed, the baby remained stuck in the birth canal. Stella grew frantic. Any further delay risked suffocation. Suddenly, the mother broke down, sobbing that she didn't want to give birth anymore. She feared the car accident had harmed the fetus and desperately wanted her child born in a fully equipped hospital. Stella used a vivid analogy to reassure her. "Do you have eggs in your refrigerator? If you shake them hard and crack the shell, the yolk remains intact. The mother's body is like the eggshell and egg white, firmly protecting the baby. Now we just need to deliver the whole yolk." This metaphor successfully eased the expectant mother's fears. She clasped her husband's hand and prepared to try again. Suddenly, a pungent odor filled the air. The husband discovered the vehicle was leaking fuel, which was flowing toward the roadside signal flares. Stella directed her husband to retrieve a fire extinguisher to control the flames. Meanwhile, the pregnant woman summoned her last ounce of strength and finally delivered the baby into the world. The loud cry made the mother weep with joy. Yet the crisis was not over. After the fire extinguisher was depleted, the flames continued to spread. The wife pleaded with her husband to evacuate with the newborn first. He clung desperately to the car door, insisting to share life and death with his wife. At the critical moment, a rescue convoy screeched to a halt. It turned out the dispatch center had identified Stella's lost phone signal and tracked it along her route home. They swiftly pried open the door with professional tools, freeing the trapped expectant mother. Though the husband urgently needed orthopedic treatment, he insisted on staying by his wife and daughter's side. When the wife gazed at her husband while cradling their newborn, all fear dissolved into an indelible love. This accident revealed humanity's brightest light in the darkest night. As long as love and hope remain, dawn's light will eventually arrive. After the navigation system gave 4 consecutive incorrect directions, Nancy casually remarked that Los Angeles was doomed. Little did she know that moments later, they would be involved in a severe accident. Even more shocking was the sight of a nearby residence suddenly engulfed in flames. Just seconds earlier, Mark had been standing outside their new home, talking to his son on the phone, envisioning their new family life. In an instant, the house he had purchased with his life savings was consumed by the inferno. Mark frantically dialed emergency services, only to hear a busy signal. It turned out Los Angeles was experiencing a citywide blackout. The dispatch center, deprived of computer system support, couldn't process the flood of distress calls. Only when footage of the fire appeared on TV news did dispatcher Han relay the emergency to the fire department. When firefighters arrived at the scene, they faced an even greater dilemma. The town's only fire hydrant had been destroyed by Nancy's wrecked vehicle. They initially suspected a gas leak caused the explosion. The captain ordered the area's gas supply cut off and deployed the ladder truck to use its water tank for firefighting. Buck risked climbing to the second floor for rescue, but the dilapidated ladder suddenly snapped. In the critical moment, Eddie scaled the water pipe to the roof. He rappelled down into the fire zone and found the trapped boy in the bathroom. But the raging flames blocked the escape route. Learning his teammate was trapped,
Negative on evac! Pin down south side of the house!
Buck attempted a forced breach but was stopped by the captain. The captain then directed residents to take cover beneath the fire truck. Meanwhile, Eddie swiftly shielded the boy inside the bathtub, using his own body as a barrier. Just then, torrential rain poured from the sky, instantly dousing the flames. When Eddie emerged with the boy, everyone realized this timely downpour came from a water bomber dispatched by the fire department. Emerging, Eddie felt a wave of relief. He thanked God for the divine intervention, unaware that Han had actually coordinated the aerial support through his connections, successfully helping his teammates overcome the crisis. This timely assistance warmed the entire team's hearts.
You are welcome, you are welcome.
That day, firefighter Judd was riding with his son Tom in the wilderness when a rattlesnake suddenly blocked their path. The startled horse bolted, and the venomous snake lunged at its leg. Tom rushed to assess the injury. Judd struggled to his feet, appearing unharmed, but the observant Tom noticed his father's lower leg was severely fractured. As a professional firefighter, Judd endured the pain and remained calm. He tried to call for help with his phone but found the battery dead. Judd reasoned that the frightened horse would run back to the farm to alert others, and rescuers should arrive soon. But the broken leg needed immediate attention. Missing the golden window for treatment could lead to lifelong disability. Judd patiently guided Tom to cut open his pant leg, revealing a puncture fracture in the lower leg. He then instructed Tom to remove his shoes and socks. Fortunately, Judd showed no signs of major bleeding, indicating his aorta remained intact. Tom then checked Judd's pulse as instructed, but found none at the ankle, proof the fracture had compressed the artery. Judd decided to have Tom perform fracture reduction on site, though Tom expressed his inexperience and fear of causing secondary injury. The critical situation left no alternative. Tom was extremely nervous, but with his father's patient reassurance, he mustered the courage. Under immense pressure, he completed the reduction procedure. The excruciating pain nearly caused his father to faint, but blood circulation was finally restored. Tom fashioned a makeshift splint from branches and built a rudimentary stretcher. While attempting to transport his father by horse, the rope snapped. Just as despair set in, his grandfather arrived in a timely manner driving an off-road vehicle. This wilderness self-rescue operation finally turned danger into safety. Meanwhile, the fire department received an urgent call from a woman reporting she couldn't contact her sister, who was battling cancer. Upon arrival, medical personnel found no response after knocking and decisively breached the door. They discovered the unconscious sister on the bedroom floor, with no pulse or breathing detected. The rescue team leader immediately prepared for defibrillation as the younger sister tearfully pleaded for her sister's life. Just as the procedure began, medical staff noticed an unusual mark on the patient's wrist, but their instinct to save overrode their concern, and they proceeded with the defibrillation. After regaining consciousness, the patient became enraged. She displayed a medical alert bracelet on her wrist, demanding why they had performed resuscitation against her wishes. The bracelet explicitly stated refusal of life-sustaining treatment. The next day, the medical team received a court summons. The patient had filed a lawsuit alleging violation of medical autonomy. The lawyer noted the case had little chance of success, although the sister hadn't mentioned the bracelet when calling for help, and the patient was wearing long sleeves at the time. The medical staff admitted they had indeed glimpsed the bracelet but couldn't overcome their professional instincts to watch life slip away before their eyes. The captain invited the sisters to the fire station for a heart-to-heart talk. The patient calmly explained she wasn't blaming the rescuers, only demanding respect for personal medical choices. Days later, the sister returned with news of her sister's passing and handed over the medical bracelet her sister had worn. May this token remind every rescuer that respecting a patient's wishes is also a vital mission.